The Independent Church of God of the Juda tribe of Israel, the Black Jews, by Bishop A.W. Cook, 1890. The Black Jews. This is the most important part of my subject. In fact, it is the most important subject of the world. The representatives of this name have been, and yet are driven, sold and killed, some put in ships and carried to desert lands, put there to starve to death. Some are chained together and carried from their country and made slaves to all the nations of the world. They are not known by their own name, which is the Black Jews. God speaking through Moses in Deuteronomy 28 and 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. About 586 BC, Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem and carried tens of thousands of Jews to Babylon. And the Black Jews have been slaves ever since as a race. But we must admit that the nations have suffered and are cursed for trying to destroy and keep us down. My subject, the Black Jews, mean all the dark and black people of the world, 400 million of them. But all of them don't know they are the real Jews, but they are turning back to their God of Israel. Now, my friends, allow me to quote some scripture on the subject and make some comparison. I will take first the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy and the 37th verse. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all of the nations of the earth, whither the Lord shall lead thee. My friends, history will prove to you that we blacks are called by many names. All nations have a different name for us. In America, they call us Negroes, colored people, darkies, niggers, and shines because our skin is slick and greasy. In foreign countries, we are known by many different proverbs that the people see fit to call us by. You yourself can think of many names by which we are known. Our true name is the children of Israel, the Black Jews. After we were in bondage for 70 years, then Israel took the names after the fourth son of Jacob, about 500 BC, and built up Jerusalem the second time. Read Nehemiah, the prophet book, and if you read the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy, you will see and know who the real Jew is. We black people have fulfilled the chapter to the letter. It fits us like the paper on the wall. There is no other nation in the world who has fulfilled this book as we have. Wherefore God also gave us up to uncleanness through the lust of our own hearts, to dishonor our own bodies between ourselves. Now, my friends, that is why we as a race have suffered untold punishments from these nations. God has turned them against us, and we are cut off from our blessings from God for the time being. Now he is calling us to serve him, that the nations of the world may be blessed. To prove to you that you have never studied this subject, the Black Jews, our fathers were in Jerusalem at one time, about 2,000 years ago. The book of Luke 21st chapter and the 24th and 25th verse. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and waves roaring. We black people are the only ones who have been captives as a race. We are led away in chains and brought to America and made slaves. The white Jew has never been a slave as a race here. They came on their own account. He has not been made slave of to any nation, but he has financed all nations and have become their money king. But we black Jews have nothing we can call our own, and 80% of us now are keeping books with the animals in the forest and are hunted as you would hunt any other animal. Our backs are to the wall, and God will soon answer our cry, for we cannot stand it much longer. The enemies who are boasting over the downfall of his black brother was warned by Apostle Paul in Romans. My people are the lost tribe of Israel, and yet slaves. I have repeatedly stated in my subject that the so-called Negro is yet a slave. In order to prove it, I shall write some facts, and I know that you, my reader, will agree with me. When the Jews were driven out of Egypt about 4,000 years ago, they were all black and were slaves in Egypt. They were in the jungles 40 years, and God led them out by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. The so-called Negro is yet a slave, though free. Some reflections on the economic slavery which makes the race helpless victims. 70 years ago, Abraham Lincoln emancipated 4,1/2 Negroes. This was a wonderful blessing to the Negro, for he had prayed to his God unceasingly that the slave chain which held him fast might be broken. He had been under the lash. His women had seen their children sold like so many cattle. They had met injustice at every turn of the road. The Negro, after a period of time, began to realize that after all, he was not a free being. Although he was not subject to his master, the Negro probably thought that the emancipation meant freedom to him. But to emancipate the Negro only meant to give him a chance to free himself. To emancipate the Negro meant to give him a chance to work out his own destiny. No nation or race has at any time freed another nation or race. They are too busy working out their own social or national problems. The power to become free lies within the race or nation itself. But will the so-called Negro be free as long as he remains at the foot of the industrial ladder? Can he be free as long as poverty stares him in the face? Can he take his place among the other races of the world unless he becomes a producer and controls the economic forces about him? Why is the so-called Negro not free today? Why is he pleading for an opportunity and for justice to be given him on every hand? There is but one answer. He is a victim of economic slavery, a slave to the economic force of this country. In the field of mercantile business, he is only a child. In the world of commerce, he is yet a stranger. In cooperative industry, he is an alien. In all creative industries, he is at the foot of the ladder. Them